So today we learned about food chains, and food chains show the transfer of energy in an ecosystem. So I want to show you a little bit more about how to write your own food chain. And so we're going to start by looking at a savanna biome. And so we have zebras and giraffes and all kinds of fun stuff. So what I would like you to always do when you make a food chain is start with the sun, because we need to remember that the sun is the source of energy for all living things. And then the next thing you do when you make a food chain is that you draw an arrow pointing to the right from the thing in front of it. Okay, and then you point to the thing that would consume the sun. So the thing that would consume the sun in this picture would be a plant. We know that plants make their own energy from the sun. And so we could use from this picture, there's grass, there's trees. We could think of maybe some other things that might be in this ecosystem as well. And then after we look at what would the plant be that would be consuming the sun, then what kind of thing would consume the plant? And so we have some zebras and some giraffes. So we might choose a zebra or a giraffe in that situation. And then I would like you to finish your food chain off today with a decomposer. Remember, decomposers break down dead plants and animals and waste. And so we can't actually see any decomposers in this picture, but just imagine what kind of things might be decomposing the dead bodies of plants and of animals. And so let me go ahead to the next slide. And this is a food chain that I made. All right. So we start with the sun. Then we have an arrow pointing to the right. It must be an arrow. Then I put leaf because that is from the tree. And then I put an arrow from that to the giraffe. The giraffe you can actually see in the picture is eating that. And then I chose for my decomposer the bacteria. So you don't always have to finish your food chain with a decomposer, but today I want you to. So again, we've got sun is consumed by the leaf, the giraffe consumes the leaf, and the bacteria consumes the giraffe once it is dead, and that makes it a decomposer. Let's do another example. On the next one, I have the sun, and then my producer, which is making its own food using the sun, is the grass. And then the next thing I have after the arrow is the zebra. The zebra is eating the grass. And then I chose for my decomposer worms. Usually there's worms underground in most ecosystems that we're going to talk about. So that is one ecosystem. Remember, you want to start with the sun because it is the source of energy for all living things. You want to draw arrows in between each thing, and those arrows point to the right. And after the sun, we always have a producer, and then we can have a consumer. And then we would either have another consumer because it's possible that in this environment that maybe some kind of big cat comes and eats the zebra, right? And then maybe after that, then worms would decompose that animal. So you can have more than one consumer in your food chain. We're just practicing with one today. The next one I have is just a forest, and this should look like a lot of you guys' backyards. It looks like really close to where school's at. We got a deer there. That's the only animal that we can see, but we're going to go ahead and just assume we know what some of the other animals would be. So a food chain that I made for this one was starting with the sun again, and then I have grass, and then the deer eats the grass, and then my decomposer is an ant. All right. You can use that as your decomposer today when you make your own as well, because in a lot of different ecosystems, there's different kinds of ants that are decomposing. So the next one and the last one that I made is starting with the sun. And then I'm going to assume there's some clover around. And then I have a rabbit eating the clover. Even though I don't see a rabbit in the picture, I can assume that there's rabbits in the area. And then I use worms for my decomposer again. So your assignment today is going to be to try to make a couple food chains on your own. Remember, we start with the sun, and then we include the producer or the plant in this situation. We have a consumer, something eating the plant, and then we're going to have a decomposer at the end, which is something breaking down those dead plants and animals. Please let me know if you have any questions.